Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to my channel for episode 2 of our Pure Farming Let's Play in Italy. And since the last episode there's been another patch last Friday with mixed results. They've had some successes and unfortunately a few failures. Thankfully for this map, most of those failures aren't really going to affect the game. Unfortunately, they almost had workers working properly, and they seem to have now completely taken a step backwards, and the workers have gone back to the way they were right in week 1 of this game. Driving in circles, not completing their jobs. I think they've really got their work cut out for them to fix it now. But having said that, they've also made a lot of improvements to the game. One of the most noticeable ones is actually the greenhouses. And they haven't changed the crop yields or anything like that. You still get the same yield out of your crops. It still takes just as long for them to be ready, but what they have done is reduce the amount of resources that they chew through. Not the amount that they take, but the amount that they go through. So I've actually found I now only have to refill my greenhouses with water and fertilizer once every 3 or 4 days instead of once or twice a day even. So if anyone who's watched the last video will remember we left off with practically no money. I did say I was going to do some work off camera, and I've done exactly that. So as you can see here, the olive grove is now ripe and it's ready for harvesting. Something else that they've done, they've also added a first person mode on foot. So it's not just the in-cab view in the vehicles anymore, which is really handy for taking good screenshots as well. And I've got to say that they have actually improved some of the graphics on these crops as well. They look a bit more 3D than they did before. They kind of looked like cardboard cutouts before. They don't look too bad now. And one of the other things that they've also done, I'm not sure how I feel about it, but they've added a couple of DLC vehicles for free. Now, I've got my Lynn Geotrack, which of course I got the first one for free, but then I've got to pay $78,000 for the next one. They've also added this black JCB Fast Track, which is just a reskin of the other Fast Track, but you get it for free. That's a $102,000 tractor, and you get it for nothing. And they've also added, if we get into transportation, another version of the Mitsubishi L200. This time again it's for free. It works to your advantage if you're a bit low on money at the start of your game, if you've chosen to start a bit lower, say 200,000 or less, because every new game you start with that red one, which you can now sell for about $20,000 or so, and just go and buy this one for free. And it looks different, but it runs the same as the others. It's exactly the same vehicle, it's just a reskin. It's got lights on the top and a reskin on the paint job, and that's about it really. I'm not going to bother buying that because I don't actually need it, but what I will do is I will get that JCB. I'll have it put to shed number 2, because what that is really good for is pulling a heavy load. It's practically useless for field work, but it's really good at pulling a heavy load, so that'll be great for our water tank, especially when it's carrying a full 12,000 litres. In the meantime, let's get these olives harvested. Now, one of the things that I've noticed, having done one olive harvest before, this can be a real pain to line up on the vineyards and the olive groves. The easiest way to do it is to actually switch to the cab view, swing your camera down a little bit. If you look down behind the steering wheel, there's a triangular plate, that triangular yellow plate. If you can line that up with the row, you'll be pretty much on the mark. And once you're on it, even if you hear some banging noises, you're on it, you'll stay on it. The row will actually keep the harvester straight as you go. You don't have to worry about getting caught up on things. My advice for the moment would be to get your harvester lined up that way. Don't try and do it from the third person view like it's at now, because all you'll end up doing is running your harvester into something solid over and over and over again. So I think the aim today should be to at least get these olives harvested and stored. Maybe, I don't know if we'll store them or if maybe I'll just sell them. We'll see how much money we get out of selling them, I think. We'll see what the crop yield's like too. Yeah, so I think we'll get these olives harvested and sold. And the greenhouses at the moment are just about ready. So I'll probably end up, when I'm finished here, I'll speed up time a bit until we can collect what's in the greenhouses. And if I've got enough there, I'll sell another load of goods from the greenhouse. And hopefully, by the end of this episode, I'll have enough money to buy that third greenhouse and get it fully upgraded as well. Having 3 greenhouses going will really boost the production and get some serious money coming in, because these vineyards and olive groves are not cheap. I've been having a look around on the map. The olive groves for the most part are around $20,000 to $30,000, so price wise they're not too bad. It's going to be a lot of work, obviously, driving around the map with the sprayer. But the sheds have been conveniently placed around this map, so that as long as you don't mind paying the $150 for it, you can just teleport your harvester and your sprayer from one shed to another to get around the map and get to all your vineyards, olive groves. Ultimately, by the end of this episode, I would like to have at least enough money that we can buy and upgrade that third greenhouse. And then I think in between now and next episode, I might do a bit of off-camera work again. We'll build some money back up so that we can buy the first vineyard, which is right next to this olive grove, by the start of the next episode, and start working at vineyard as well. Conveniently, the storage drop-off point for the grapes happens to be right behind this olive grove and right next to the vineyard. So I think we'll cut here and we'll come back when I'm finished harvesting this olive grove, because this is a job that's going to take a while. See you soon. Okay, just a couple more rows to go. While I've been off doing this though, one of the things that I've just found is that there seems to be a bug with the truck or this harvester, one of the two. But trying to empty this thing out, I've had to back it up against the truck several times before it will actually let me drop the contents of this harvester into the truck. It wasn't doing that before last week's patch, so who knows, either it's a bug or maybe I'm doing something wrong. But it just seems like the option to empty this thing out pops up briefly on the screen and then disappears, unless I repeatedly sort of drive this thing forward and then back it up again. I've practically got to slam it against the truck to get it to let me drop the contents in. It's a real pain in the neck, but such is life. This game does have quite a few bugs. I wouldn't exactly call them game breaking though. I know there's a lot of people out there that are saying, I won't buy this game, or you know, I regret buying this game because it's just got too many bugs and I can't handle it and it's driving me nuts. And yes, it's infuriating at times, but I for one am not one of those kind of people that's going to give up on a game just because of a few minor bugs, or even a lot of minor bugs. Apologies for that noise. I forgot that I was wearing a necklace and it's just hit the microphone. Let's see. Oh, look at that. It's a miracle. I actually managed to get it to do it first time. Okay, so that's our olive grove all done. I think I'll just park this up here. Now that's not too bad a haul, 9.8 tons. And I don't think I'll store it. I think we'll actually go and sell it and we'll see what it's worth. Probably not much, because I'm pretty sure olives are only worth about $500 or so per ton, which would put them pretty much on par with crops like wheat and barley. Man, this truck bounces around a lot. I'll get these out to the sell point. I'm hoping that the combined income from this plus whatever greenhouse crops I've got in storage will be enough to buy that next greenhouse. Hopefully, because I'd really hate to have to wait another 3 days for that olive grove to grow back. Let's see what we get. Okay, that's a bit pathetic. It's basically $7,000 for every 10 tons of olives. That's not much. In some ways, I think this game seems to be the reverse of Farming Simulator, because in Farming Simulator your crops are your main source of income and greenhouses are more a secondary source. And I'm going in the wrong direction. I actually intended to bring this truck back to the greenhouses. In this game it seems to be the exact opposite. It's like greenhouses are your main source of income and your crops are the supplementary income. And again, I'm not sure how I feel about that, really, because as far as I know, I might be wrong. Correct me if I am. If anybody knows better, feel free to correct me, but as far as I know, greenhouse crops don't really make farmers as much money. Things like tomatoes and cabbages and peppers and things like that don't make farmers as much money as mass crops do. But in this game, it seems to be the way it is. Greenhouses just seem to make you a hell of a lot more money. Okay, now these are at 77%, so I'll just speed time up until they're done. And then we'll collect them up, see what we've got in storage, because I have no idea how much I left in storage. And go sell what I've got. And you can see the fertilizer in the water is not going down anywhere near as quickly as it used to, which is a really, really good thing, because for one thing, it was costing a fortune in fertilizer to have to refill these sometimes twice a day. Basically every harvest I found I had to refill it. It's okay, we don't need that speed limit sign. We're not sticking to the speed limit anyway. Wait a minute. I'm Mr. Greenhouse. Well, that's a good head start. Let's go see what we've got in storage and we'll top up the trailer. doesn't tell me how much I've got in weight. But this will easily be enough to fill up the truck. You'll see what I mean here about your crops being more of a secondary income, supplementary, and your greenhouses being main income, because, okay, I'm carrying more than I was in olives, obviously. I got 14 tons instead of 10, but there shouldn't be that much of a difference in what I get paid for that. However, having done this off camera since last episode, I can tell you now, these tomatoes are worth a lot more. And these are the cheapest greenhouse crops you can grow. They grow faster. 7% per hour is the growth rate on these, whereas the more expensive the greenhouse crop, the slower per hour it grows. I think right down to about 5% for the most expensive. And we'll sell this load, and look at that. And there you go, $18,500 for one load, as compared to the rather pathetic $6,000 or $7,000. I'd say if it was a full truckload of olives, it probably would have been around about $9,500, $10,000 a load, but still, it's not much. However, selling those tomatoes off has given us enough money to go and buy the third greenhouse, which is exactly what I had intended to do. And then I'll have to go and get that olive grove sprayed again and ready to go, since that's going to take 3 days to grow back. Let's get that third greenhouse going. Until I build the money back up again, I think I'm going to leave all three of them growing tomatoes for the time being. Just because they grow quicker, you get more of them, much higher crop yield. They are the cheapest crop, they don't sell for as much as the others do, but in the long run, it's going to be better. And later on, once I've got some money in the bank, I'll change the crops. I'll switch it over to eggplant. We are in Italy. It's only right that we should grow eggplant. Now, which one are they? Whoops. There's another hidden rock. Which one of these did I just fill up? This one. Not paying attention today. Unfortunately, today my brain is only half there. Had a bit of a rough night last night. Next door's dog barking throughout half the night kept me awake. And then after about 5 o'clock this morning, I just couldn't seem to get back to sleep again. And it seems that no amount of coffee today is getting my brain to function. Yeah, 90% will do. Alright, let's switch over to our new JCB. And we'll pick up that water trailer and get all of these refilled. Jobs like this is where the JCB really shines. It is, as I said, not designed for field work. Don't even try it. As you can see, the turn radius is crap. you try and use this for field work, you will never turn around fast enough to get straight lines going. It's pretty sluggish on the turn. Oh, what am I doing? Oh, it's already full. There, Bob. Proof positive. Brain is not functioning properly. That's one. That's two. And we'll need a refill for the other one because it's going to take the entire water tank. Okie dokie. So we'll get this last greenhouse filled up, and then I'm pretty sure that the water tank in the olive grove is going to need a refill as well, so I'm going to have to drive back around to that and get that filled up. Otherwise we're going to end up with a very dry crop, although it's looking pretty cloudy. Any luck, it might actually rain and water that orchard for me. Glug 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 glug. So I've got my 3 greenhouses now, which should be producing me just a little under 10 tons of tomatoes a day, which is pretty damn good actually. Pretty much means every second harvest I'm going to have a full truckload to sell. So greenhouses are on a 14-hour cycle, I think. So basically every second day, that's another $18,000 coming in every second day. Which is good, because that means it will build the money up fast enough to start buying vineyards. Vineyards are more expensive, I've noticed, than the olive groves. I've had a look around on the map and I've checked on the prices, and the average olive grove price is about 20 to 30,000. The average vineyard price is about 40 to 50,000. So they're not cheap, and there aren't as many of them, and they're a bit more scattered around than the olive groves are too, which means a lot of driving to get back and forth to them. Now the whole point of this series was to kind of answer the question of whether or not it was a viable option to start in a country other than Montana, being that Montana has the biggest map with the most to do, and the developers themselves have said that that was the intention, that you start in Montana and expand out from there. I'd have to say so far, yes, it's a viable option financially. You can hold your own reasonably well. Having said that though, it's a lot of work. You're going to find yourself working pretty hard if you do things this way. Not to say that it's a bad way to do things. I'm obviously not having any trouble keeping the farm afloat. Okay, let's get these sprayed and hope it doesn't rain. And one of the things that I've noticed, I don't know if it's intentional or not, because the developers have been asked on the Steam discussion board several times, and they haven't actually answered the question yet, whether or not it's intentional. but if it rains anytime between when you've sprayed and when you harvest, it'll wash that pesticide spray right off your orchards, olive groves, vineyards, everything. If the only thing I haven't noticed it washes off is the fields. If you're doing grain crops in Montana, for some reason, if it rains on the field, it doesn't wash the pesticide off, but it does wash it off here. And on orchards in Montana as well, just not the fields. I've got no idea if that's intentional or if it's a bug. The unfortunate thing is there are currently so many bugs with this game, it's kind of difficult to tell what is meant to be intentional and what is actually a bug sometimes. Anyway, this is another job that's going to take a while, so we'll cut here and we'll come back when we're done. See you soon. Okay, we've almost got this done. Then I'll have to have a think about what to do next, because really from here on it's just going to be a waiting game. This is mostly just going to be about collecting from the greenhouses, selling the occasional load of tomatoes, and waiting for the olive grove to ripen, really. It's just about all there is going to be to do. Even if I was playing on the Montana map, it would be pretty much the same thing. Early on, you've spent all your money, you don't really have much to do but plant what you've got, collect it, and either store it or sell it. Let's get this refilled. Whoa, stop. That's something else that needs to be addressed too. Just occasionally the brakes just seem to randomly fail. Not just on this tractor, if you can call it a tractor. I call it more of a cardboard box on wheels. Okay, now everything's refilled. Orchard is sprayed. Oh, there's a wind turbine we haven't bought yet. No, I'm a bit low on money, but I might run around and grab it anyway. Just the daily income from that would help. It's an extra couple $100 a day. Very nice. That looks like another olive grove up there. Or is that a vineyard? That might be a vineyard. That's a chicken coop. And so are those. Now, I am not going to do chickens in this series because they're really not worth it. 19,000 for that olive grove, and it's pretty sizable too. It's not exactly a small one. That one's 19,000 as well. Now you see, this makes no sense to me really, because look at the size of this field compared to the size of this field, and they're both the same price. I really think they need to do some price balancing. There's another one, 21,000, but it's pretty much the same size as that one. It's number 5. I really do think they need to do some price balancing in this game, because there are some things that are just way off. And then you've got your vineyards, 47,500 for that one. So it's not cheap doing grapes. The outlay is pretty high. There's the olive grove I already own, and that vineyard's going to cost me 43,000. I've got some saving up to do. It's going to take at least a few days of saving up money from selling tomatoes to get that. So yeah, it looks like it's a viable option for making your money, and of course you can travel overseas still. And I was actually having a think about this the other night. I'll just speed the clock up here. having a think about this the other night when I was doing some off-camera work, and I think a good plan for income might be that I'll use this map for crops. So I'll grow my olives and my grapes, and here comes the rain to wash off all that spray. Wonderful. That's just great. Now I'm going to have to respray that entire field all over again. Just drive back out there and keep an eye on it, but I'm pretty sure that's going to wash all that spray off, and I'm just going to have to do it again from scratch. Just great. Unfortunately, such is life. Things can go horribly wrong. You can lose an entire crop, you can lose half a crop. And at the moment, the spraying still looks good. Oh, don't tell me it actually bugged out to my advantage for a change and didn't wash off my spray. Huh? Spray is still at 100%. What do you know? Okay then. I'll just move this over here so it's out of the way. And then the greenhouses are ready. Oh, looks like a good yield this time too. Oh yeah, look at that. 4,000 kilos today instead of the usual, what is it? I think it's 3,200. Not too shabby at all. Fill her up. So this will give us a good head start for storage. I could go and sell these now. In fact, I've gotten a really good crop yield out of this, 12,000 kilos. I might go sell this lot right now actually. I was going to store it because it wasn't going to be even close to a full truckload, but it's only 2 tons off a full truckload. I think I'll just go sell it. Money, money, money. Money, money. Need some money. That'll put some dollars back in the bank and will give us a good head start towards getting that vineyard. Now, for those who also watch or have watched my Farming Simulator series as well, the beginner series that I've done on Farming Simulator, I know I promised another episode of that as an addendum, just to cover like equipment for animals and how to take care of animals and so forth. That video is coming. It is late. Unfortunately, it's only late because I've just recently bought a new microphone. You can probably tell with the sound difference to my other videos. I've actually finally found a really good desktop microphone, and I'm still working out the sound balancing for Farming Simulator, just to get the sound balancing right for this game, and it still isn't quite right. You know, I've had to spend several hours doing short videos and sound checks and changing sound settings within the game and within the microphone settings and so forth, and I'm going to have to do exactly the same thing with Farming Simulator as well. So be patient, it is coming. It will be up before the end of this week, I can promise that much. I've done this video first just simply because the sound balancing was already almost right anyway. It didn't take too much playing around with it to get the sound balancing right. So I think we'll leave this episode here. I'm now sitting on $34,000, so I'm not that far off being able to get that vineyard anyway. As last time, I think I'll do some off-camera work and save up enough money to buy that vineyard, and then the next episode when we come back, we'll buy that first vineyard and we'll get that one sprayed and ready right after we've harvested the olives, so that they'll both be ready at the same time, and we'll see what kind of income we start getting from grapes as well. So as usual, questions, comments, criticisms, leave them below. And of course, if you'd like to get those notifications on new videos, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And until then, we'll see you next time. Bye for now.